Welcome back. All right, so quick news of the day video for all you fine people for your Friday, July the 7th. Starting with news from this came out yesterday, but I couldn't do a video just strictly on that. Anze Kopitar. So next year's free agent class is seen as being a very good one. I will do a video on next year's free agent class, but it's going to be deceptive because a lot of the bigger names will re-sign with their teams. There will be a few that probably don't, but trying to figure out who that's going to be can be tricky because, again, looking all the way back to Tavares, weeks before he signed with Toronto, it looked like it was a fait accompli. He was staying with the Islanders. So Kopitar takes his name off the board. 2 years, $7 million per season. So that is quite the drop in his cap hit from where it is currently at $10 million. So at a time where a lot of players will be going into that $10 million plus range on their cap hit, Kopitar is dropping down towards the end of his career and giving the team a very team-friendly deal that will allow them to compete in a world where the salary cap should go up substantially next year. And so, yeah, that's something to keep an eye on as whether or not the Kings can get anybody else to decide to stick around on team-friendly deals, because next year's free agent market could be quite the free agent market, right? So I wanted to throw this in here just in case anybody's curious about buying the 30th anniversary jersey. You can buy it through the Anaheim Ducks store. The pre-sales have been extended through Sunday. My guess is that pre-orders have been brisk in sales. It's a fantastic jersey. They got it right with their 25th anniversary jersey, too. That was absolutely fantastic. And so I'm not surprised that they got it right here either. This is a team that, for every criticism they get for their home and away jerseys that they wear, and apparently they're keeping in the next season as well. So, because there's been talk about whether or not they're going to go back to a Mighty Ducks style branding, and it hasn't happened yet. Maybe they just keep making more and more of these Duck throwbacks where we go out and buy them up, because I will buy them. I'm not buying the pre-order, but maybe that's just the way it'll work. Just, we know our home and aways are considered one or two of the least popular, but we're not worried about selling those. We're going to sell specialty jerseys and make our money there on merchandising. So the Ducks, I really do like it. I love that this is the logo that's on the front of it as well. Good call. So if you're curious about buying one, you can go through the team store until Sunday. I'm just waiting to see if the seller that I go through is going to get it or not. If they don't, I can go through. I would think Cool Hockey's going to get it. But it'll be interesting to see when each like, usually the team store will get it first and distribute it, and then it's a week or 2 weeks before the other sites get it. And if you're one of those who wants to be the first to get something, team store can be the way to go. So Zadina and Andreoff both clear waivers. No surprise there. So both of them have had their contracts terminated. Zadina by Detroit, Andreoff by the Islanders. According to Elliot Friedman, Andreoff is likely to sign overseas. This may very well be why he ended up being bought out and contract terminated. Zadina's talking to teams in the NHL. Who knows? By the time this is uploaded, maybe he's already signed somewhere else. But for Zadina, he forfeited that money. He could have fought that waivers for a buyout, but he said no, he's betting on himself. So I'm kind of rooting for Zadina in this one. Rough go for him in Detroit. Maybe with a new organization it works. I know there will be people who say no, but I didn't think Eeli Tolvanen was going to do what he did in Seattle, and he did. So maybe Zadina can be a similar success story for a team that picks him up. Now, pickups are getting a little bit more difficult because of cap space. The Pittsburgh Penguins would love to add Erik Karlsson, and this has been rumored out there for a while, but apparently they're still having trade talks and trying to figure out a way to make this work. Erik Karlsson in Pittsburgh could be a huge boost to that team. One name that could end up going the other way, pure speculation, but Jeff Petrie would make some sense to be going the other way because it's a $6.25 million cap hit for 2 more years. Keeping in mind that it's an over $11 million cap hit for Karlsson, so that's definitely not dollar in, dollar out. However, it would make it a little bit easier. If you could get San Jose to retain it all, and Mike Grier has been quite resistant to the idea of retaining money. He believes that Karlsson's healthy, Karlsson's playing some of the best hockey of his career, and he doesn't see any reason to have to swallow as much cap space in the deal, or as much of the cap money in the deal as has been rumored that they might need to, right? That 50%. That's still a no-go for San Jose at every report that I've seen. Petrie does have a 15-team no-trade list, though. I looked that up on Cap Friendly. First, he has the no-movement clause, so they can't send him to the minors. But he also has a 15-team no-trade clause. So, If San Jose's on that 15-team no-trade clause list, that makes things a little more difficult. So that's something to keep in mind because, yeah, that's almost half the league. You would think that Petrie would have, teams he's like, I'm on the older side, I'd rather not go there. He might have San Jose on that list. The Calgary Flames have not given up on re-signing Elias Lindholm. I admire them for this, for their stick-to-itiveness, and I maybe it's that positivity of Craig Conroy shining through, but they still want to re-sign Lindholm, even though he's not really wanting to stick around for a long-term deal. And the trade talks have quieted down around the team at this point. Hannafin's the most likely to go, but Backlund could stay on the team. It's possible that they keep Lindholm, maybe as a good faith move on their part to say, look, we'll keep you around this year, and then hope to get off to a really good start and swing the pendulum the other way and get Lindholm signed. Lindholm, I think, would be best to sign in Calgary. I think he's played much better in Calgary than he did in Carolina. But it's his right to decide, no, long-term I want to be somewhere else. Players are in the league a long time waiting for that UFA market opportunity to come up. And for a lot of players, it may just be once. Especially if it's going to be a long-term contract. You may only go to market once with the idea you can cash in. So that might be part of it too. Lindholm might be deciding, I could really cash in next summer. And there may be others who are in the final year of contracts looking at next year's salary cap going up and what that could mean and saying, I think I'd like to take my chances with going to the market. It will be interesting to see how many do. I know that a lot of the big names will probably get re-signed, but it's going to be interesting. Minnesota. So Michael Russo, talking about the Minnesota Wild, asked about, what's going on with Addison and saying that Addison, there's still going to be some talks, but the focus right now for Minnesota when it comes to restricted free agents, Duhaime and Gustafsson, because they have arbitration rights. So since they've declared that they're going to arbitration, this is Minnesota's focus. And this is what I was talking about with the arbitration too. Teams will prioritize the players who have arbitration rights. They do not want to sit in front of an arbitrator and have to argue why this player is being greedy, asking for that amount of money. We don't want to pay that, because you don't want to get into a match where you're against your own player with them trying to argue why they're worth more money than you're willing to pay, and you arguing why they're wrong. So makes total sense. And then after they get that done, then Calen Addison would become a priority to get signed. I would kind of be surprised to see Addison back in Minnesota after this past year. I don't get the feeling Dean Evason has a lot of faith in him, but maybe Addison works on the defensive side of his game in the offseason, and that wouldn't be a problem this year. It's quite possible. He's a very young defenseman, so it is possible. But yeah, he and Evason clearly didn't see eye to eye during this past regular season. So yesterday, the Vancouver Canucks prospects went through the grouse grind. I've never done the grouse grind, and I know that there's a lot of people that have just casuals who want to see just how tough this is, and I've heard about how difficult it is. So it's a mountain climbing, and there's steps the whole way up, but it's very vertical. It looks very, very vertical and kind of relentless. And so I mean, I've done hikes. I've done hikes that are medium difficulty, not really. I've never done the whole rock climbing thing. Because between me getting dizzy when I'm high up and just that nerves of, I know how far it's been, I would not be a good rock climber. But yeah, the grouse grind, I could see myself trying at some point in time in my life, but the older I get, the less likely that becomes. But yeah, most of the prospects rated it 10 out of 10 for difficulty. My favorite was one of the prospects saying 100 out of 10. So yeah, the grouse grind is kind of, it's a rite of passage with Vancouver players and prospects. And so for prospects, it's not the last time they're going to see the grouse grind. But the Sedins still do it. And the Sedins, when you see them do it, you think they could still play in the NHL, couldn't they? They're in very good shape. And so, they help shepherd the kids along. And they've been very useful here in Abbotsford as well with the prospects. So, for Vancouver, I think it's a good tradition that they have there. And let me know if you've done the grouse grind and what you thought of it. Again, it looks like it would be a nightmare experience for me personally. I think it would be one of those things where I'd be like, this is okay. I think I can do this. And then I would realize I'm only a third of the way done. I'm going to die. So anyways, there you go. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.